Hello painters! My name is Alai and welcome to this video in which I want to show you how I mix the oil paints without ruining them. We will talk about mixing paints with knife, mediums, thinners and much more. Let's go! As medium, I will be using this one for gambling. This is the palette knife that I like the most. You can grab the shape you want, but as it's mostly for mixing, I prefer this one. Today, I am using a really simple palette. 2 yellows, 2 reds, 2 blues, some earth colors, and the white. I am going to use this eye image as a test, as it has skin colors, whites, and these are 2 of the common issues of mixing paint. As you know, I use a glass palette for making my mixes. Let's start with the interior of the eye. Why? Because it's my interest point and I want it to be perfect. As you see, I always grab a pinch of the color with a knife and mix them doing the same movement. I just got used to this movement and I like it because you only use this part of the knife and not the top one. This helps me get cleaner mixes. Okay, we have the iris colors ready. Let's go with the whites. The whites in the eyes can be red or blue because of the little capillaries, the tear duct, etc. So let's just pick white and a bit of blue. But I don't want to make it too saturated. We can make it a bit more realistic, adding the complementary color. In this case, let's pick the chromatic circle. The complementary of the blue is the orange. Instead of making just orange, the sienna will make the blue less intense. Same for the red. We don't want it to be too intense. The complementary would be green. But instead of going green, adding this turquoise will make a nice subtle violet. And lastly, grab some blue, red and amber to make a regular black. This can be used to make the pupils and maybe lashes in the future, but I don't use this for darkening any color. To make whites darker, for example, I add a bit of burnt sienna and the color used. If it's too intense, then I pick the complementary again to make it more subtle. This gives us more control and variety of tones than adding just black to the mix. Let's do the pupil and iris and the whites. The side near the tear duct is usually reddish and the other one is bluish, but you can focus on the picture to see which one to use. A little trick I use on irises is adding more color variety. For example, this gray part is quite cool compared to the rest, so we can add just blue, but subtle. Now that I have the iris and the whites, I like to make a little transition between both. If you focus on the picture, irises don't have sharp edge, and no matter what's the color of the eye, I always do this with some blue. Now for the highlights. I love using blues and orange to make some hard contrast that the white is brighter. See the picture. Where is the warm edge? I would say it's here, right? And here you can see some bluish tones, right? This is easy then. I'll add some yellow orange here and some turquoise here. And in the middle, I will add the shine with a pinch of pure white. For the skin, I like to mix some basic colors first, with the knife, again, without being too accurate. White and burnt sienna is the easy go for light skins. I also like mixing a red and a yellow with a white. I say a yellow because depending on which one you have, the color can be different. Maybe lemon, ochre, cadmium, Indian. Just experiment with your yellows, with your reds. And the same as before, in order to make it less saturated, we add a complementary color, which is some blue. What I like to do is adding the three of these: blue, green, and purple. these parts are a bit tricky because they need to be accurate in value. I am going to use the saturated but light tones, almost grey. And on the other hand, the tear duct is quite pink, with a saturated dark shadow. This adds some depth, and I like to add a red line as a transition between the light part and the shadow part. And for the eyebrow and the lashes, I love to go with the amber base but mixed with some blues, reds, making it a bit more fun. And you always should put a bit of the skin color onto the lashes or onto the eyebrows because it will add some realism. Thanks to the mini palette here, you can see the different hues I added to the skin, and although you can make generic mixes, you should always add variations like this because the skin is rich in colors. And well, this is the result. I know it's not perfect, it should have more contrast maybe on the nose part, and I usually don't detail that much the iris overall, but this was a quick painting, an hour or so, and the most important, it was fun. So, if you just want to be realistic, remember to use the complementary colors to adjust the level of intensity of each tone. I suggest you have one of these with you because you have all the color theory condensed in this little piece of paper. I will link it in the description down below. And that's it. I hope to see you in the next video with a full still life painting to put in practice all of this. Bye!